Morning, all. So preview for today's games, just two games today, and we're going to talk about what everybody's talking about. I'm just going to give my 2 cents on that and move along. And don't worry, I'm not going to get all political on it because there's a reason why. So we're going to discuss the preview first here. So we have the Flyers and the Islanders, and this series is tied at 1 after the Flyers won Game 2, and we're going to see how Game 3 goes. Game 2 was very entertaining. And now with Game 3, we're going to see if that one's equally entertaining or if both teams maybe, close things down and play a trapping style on both sides again. And we'll see. If the Flyers get the early lead, we may see another very entertaining game. Watch for Beauvillier to end up getting a couple of goals. That happens every couple of games, it seems, with him. And starting goaltender, I haven't heard yet. I would think it's still Varlamov. I'd be very surprised if they went with Greiss, but it's Barry Trotz, so he does like to be a little bit unpredictable, which is why I'm saying Varlamov. Philadelphia, of course, it'll be probably Elliott. It's a 1-1 series tie, so if they stay with Hart, that wouldn't necessarily be a big shocker either. But I do think Alain Vigneault trusts Brian Elliott with the net, and so we'll see what happens. Let me know who you think is going to win that game in the comment section below, and who you think is going to win between Vegas and Vancouver. Vancouver Canucks looking to steal a series, really, in all honesty. Vegas Golden Knights, odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup, and if Vancouver can win tonight, they can put them behind the 8 ball. But they have to, really prevent them from asserting their dominance. The puck control, the physicality, everything that Vegas has going for them, Vancouver has to make sure that's turned down. So they have to make sure there's not a ton of hits being thrown. Roussell's not out there playing a lot. I didn't really even notice him last game, which is why you also didn't really even notice Ryan Reeves last game, because those two weren't going at each other. So that's a much better setup for the Canucks. And we're going to see how things go from here. Again, I'm not expecting a Canucks victory in this series. I'll let you guys in on a secret because, people debate about my fandom of the Canucks. I have had dreams about Canuck games every single night for over a week now. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, sometimes they win the Stanley Cup. Sometimes they're wearing the skate jerseys, sometimes they're wearing the Orca, sometimes it's the stick and rink. Yeah. So that's legit how boring my subconscious is. That it's like, hey, the Canucks are still in the playoffs. Here's another dream for you. Why did you make them lose? Because I'm realistic. There you go. You're welcome, Shannon. So yeah, we'll see which dream comes true, and I'm thinking the one where they win the Stanley Cup. Probably not, because that's just one of those things that I don't think ever happens in my lifetime. But again, if you're optimistic and you believe in it, I'm not going to say anything about that. That's great. You hold on to that optimism. Speaking of which, so the NHL and the NHLPA are going to discuss their options today. And honestly, here's the thing. So we've gone through months and months and months of protests, and we've had this discussion for months and months and months. And I honestly, I'm fine with people having the right to a peaceful protest. I am fine with people feeling the need to be part of that conversation. The thing is, it feels like there needs to be more action than just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it does anything. So the NBA yesterday says, well, we're not playing our games. All right, so first the Milwaukee Bucks say we're not playing tonight in protest. And then the NBA goes, fine, we'll just cancel our games. And then the Milwaukee Brewers, we're not going to play baseball tonight. So there were other baseball games that were happening, but not that one. Now the NBA, breaking news is that the NBA, they're talking about resuming their playoffs. Meanwhile, the NHL and the NHLPA are going to discuss their options. But last night, we saw this blurb before the game, and again, I understand there's people who are going to say, well, they should close it down because it's not important. But here's the thing. So there's this whole movement going on, but it feels like the actions that get taken by professional sports, they don't move the needle. Whatever you believe regarding the ongoing protests, whatever you believe about the ongoing inequality issues in the United States and elsewhere, you are not going to be swayed by the NHL deciding not to play hockey games. There is absolutely nobody who is going to get and the idea of, well, it calls attention to it. It's everywhere. It is honestly, it is on every website. It is on all news sites. It is everywhere. It is the number one topic of conversation globally. And I think it's fine to say, well, you know, the NHL is slow to this and they've got to act. Okay. I had this discussion on the Patreon Discord yesterday, and I've felt this way for the last few months. Like, okay, if people really want to make change, you have to get involved. You have to get involved locally. You have to get involved with grassroots efforts. You have to be, you know, maybe volunteer, work on. They have all kinds of need for elections volunteers right now in the U.S. Do some volunteering for that, and you know, have that discussion and have a mature discussion regarding this that doesn't involve face punching. This and again, you know, even that brings a debate of, I don't think that happened. Well, I think it did. Well, you know what? I don't have any reason to think that Logan Couture didn't get popped. I don't know what he said. I don't know how he said it, but I don't have any reason to think he didn't. And the idea of, well, nobody's going to punch somebody over anything stupid. Never been to a bar then, have you? So, you know, I've seen people get punched over the dumbest things. A lot of the time it was the women I was with. I'd be like, wait, you hit her over what? Holy crap. So, wait, how am I involved in this? Okay, we're leaving. So, the NBA now is resuming playoffs. The NHL, it's a tough situation because the NHL, they're playing in Canada. It's a multinational game in that there's not as many American players as what you'll see with the NBA, with the NFL, with Major League Baseball, where it's almost entirely, at least, you know, and I know there's players from other countries, but it's not as international as what we see with hockey. And again, you know, I get it. I get the need for all of that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Because that's the thing. Anytime that I try to be done, people are like, "Oh, he's a conservative." Now I vote NDP. Anytime I vote NDP. So I'm on neither. So I don't the liberal. I don't vote liberal. I don't vote conservative. I vote NDP. So to me, the whole argument is a matter of now. It's just we've all dug in. Everybody's dug into what they think about the situation. There's a vote coming up in the U.S. in November. It's important that people vote. And you know, and be like, well, I don't feel like voting. Well, then, what are you doing? So if you're mad about things, you're saying, well, I don't feel like voting. Then what are you doing? So again, I don't think the NHL's in a catch-22. If they don't do anything, they're going to get told that they're insensitive. But if the NBA players didn't walk out yesterday, nobody would be saying anything to the NHL today. So it's this weird version of league peer pressure. And I find it strange when we're kind of at a point where it's like you can't do something because you want to. You have to do certain things, or else that means this. You have to say this, or that means this. I remember when the black square thing was going on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then there was you got to post this on social media. No, I'm not doing that. It feels pressured. It feels like if I do those things, it's because somebody else did it. I want to say things and do things because I want to do them. And again, if I came out tomorrow and I said, hey, so there is this thing that happened locally that I don't agree with. There's this thing that happened in Saskatchewan I don't agree with. There's this thing that happened in Washington State. I'm really mad about it. So in order to protest for the next 2 days, I'm not making YouTube videos. Nobody watching this is going to go, oh, wow, that really changes my mind about things. People are going to be like, oh, okay, I'll come back in a couple of days then. So the NBA deciding not to play last night, I don't think it does anything. And again, I know there's people who are going to say, well, it causes us to have the conversation. We're already having it. We are legit. This conversation's been going on for months. And it's more that gets added on, and I get it, but it's already happening. And yeah, I think the NHL now they're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I think they're even. I think at this point, if they said, well, we're not going to play these games until tomorrow, people go, oh, that was big of you after everybody else, huh? So I mean, unless I don't know, Because again, it's like, well, they have to be part of the change. Again, playing a hockey game doesn't mean that you don't give a damn about something that happened somewhere else. That's not how it works. There's this massive hurricane coming in Louisiana right now, and you've got this level 4 hurricane that's decimating cities and towns and wiping people. Well, then why are we playing sports when there's a hurricane too? And I'm asking that not to be sarcastic, but as a legit question. So again, if the answer is going to be, well, that's not a reason to shut down sports, my answer is going to be, well, why not? So again, we've had this question since March of when is the right time to shut down sports, and I don't think that any shutting down of the sports world changes anything, because I haven't seen anybody who has said, I really thought that movement was a horrible idea. But ever since basketball canceled that game, I've decided to completely change my mind. We need to actually have the conversation, actually be able to move that needle. And I don't, while I admire sports for trying to be part of it, I don't think sports has anything to do with it. Because I don't think anybody watching a sport is going to say, this is what's going to make me decide on my belief system. All right. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all of your attention this morning and for your time. And I hope that anybody who's in the path of that giant storm that isn't being talked about enough right now, I hope you're okay. Because that's a massive storm that just all of a sudden, and I'm stage 4, almost stage 5. That's not cool, like category 5. And so hopefully everybody's okay. Again, I think there's realistically conversations to be had. I don't think hockey's going to be the one that's driving it. I think, yes, we need change, but I don't think it's going to come from sports. I think you can have it be part of. I think you can have like pregame stuff. You can talk about stuff, but again, for people who don't agree with any of the protests, you're just pushing them further away. And for people who agree with them, they already agree with them. So it's about trying to move that needle. And I'm watching, especially, and I'll end with this. I've watched, as you have these conventions going on, and I go, oh, okay, so they're playing to their base. They're not actually trying to get anybody new. Cool. And they both did it. So again, from the outside, I look and I go, wow, that's sad. So until leadership changes, whatever change people want to see, it's probably not going to happen, because it's you have to get the attention of the people in charge, which means you have to figure out ways to get to the money that supports them. Then they'll listen. All right. Thanks again for everything. I will talk to you guys again soon.